You all know I like Yuri Kozakai's announcing, right?
Nakano!
What do y'all think of this ring announcer? She got some chops. It's Stardom's All-Star Grand Queendom 2025. This is Meerkat Ultra. Sorry for the delay. This is the season finale and the final night of an era of Stardom. I'm not gonna waste too much time setting up the show. I am assuming you've seen it. If you haven't seen it,
Why?
You must. I thought this might be the best Stardom show I've seen. So let's get into it. But let me shout out my dedicated Patreon sponsors first. First, I want to start off with my newest Patreon sponsor, Grizzo. Kind of like Grizzly Bear meets Rizzo, which is funny enough, not the only time I'm going to reference Rizzo in this video. Also kind of like, you know, Grizzly Man movie too. I don't know. Sorry, I'm riffing now. Thank you so much, Grizzo. Thank you for your nice message. We also have Jeff, Teach, Renee Valdez, Ace of Trace, Matt, Justin Stein, Matthew Pilatushka, Terrence, Danwell, Kev Mullen, AMK, Raycon Shige, Juggernaut Graphics, Aaron Securius, I1 Victims, JOLA, Julia Sunglasses, Paul Dar, Pickle, Simon Scott, Rachel Little, Choo Choo, Tony Davis, Doggo Snake, Luciano Woodweddle, Wall, Cuz, 99, Jaina Bullock, Joe Pro, Bippity, Boppity, whatever, and Biles, Joshi Bar, and thank you again, Grizzo. Thank you all. First match is the Future Stardom Championship match. Rana Yagami is facing the defending champion, Hina. Hina is wrestling her heart out, and she has a variety of moves that play off her judo style of suplexes and pump handle variations. As such, she has all the tools to check off the marks of what would be generally dictated as a good match, but I find she lacks a certain personality that makes her identifiable. Rana has a much more interesting style for me and shows much more emotion, more ambitious fire, and desire to win over Hina. Being a bear really unlocked her full potential like she's Gohan or something. Just look at this mean submission game by Rana Yagami. Hina's version of the jackhammer would do nothing because Rana like, "You're not Goldberg, you silly Hina." So Hina would end the match with a frog splash. Not a bad performance. Hina does possess built-in relationships with her sisters that make her career interesting, but that's mostly where it ends in my opinion, and I'm not trying to be mean. Rana Yagami has a much more interesting style for me. Next, it's a funny match actually. Tekla has been on this super angry edgelord tear to destroy all idols, and she does this by saying fuck a lot and throwing the middle finger around like she's this Instagram chef here who does the same thing.
I hate my fucking life.
It's divisive for sure, but she don't give a fuck. Some people think she's cringe, but she don't give a fuck. I think we're all adults and we can handle a few fucks. No, honestly, she's just fine. And this totally fits her hardcore punk rock style in my opinion. A bit over the top, yeah, but sometimes it really works, like in this match. I thought she was in the zone and completely insane in peak Tekla. Either way, her story is funny and super serious. See, she fucking hates Okada. She's like, fuck you Okada, and Okada like, fuck me! Fuck me! Oh, okay. So she challenged Okada to a match at All-Star Grand Queendom, and honestly, I would have been all in on that. Seriously, that's the type of Dark Souls 2 scuffed ideas that I miss from current Stardom, but instead, the magical unicorn, the Cinderella winner Sayaka Carrara came to her boss's rescue and will face Tekla instead, since you know, she doesn't have a match and will instead be waiting to use her wish for the mate. Oh. So Sayaka Carrara declared that she would use her wish to face the Red Belt champion because she didn't want to dishonor the wishes of another or something like that. I don't know the exact quote, but basically she was going to save it for a special something, but then decided not to interfere. Which tells me that Dark Souls 2 was going to have a moving boss track you, but you can kill the pursuer like this.
Biggs, thanks dude.
Which would have made this main event obvious in my opinion, but you know, my YouTube comments spoiled the ending. But we do get All-Star Grand Carrara now, people. Look at this shot. If Tekla wins, she will be granted her match with Okada. But if Tekla loses, she must join Cosmic Angels. Which would have been comedy, pure comedy gold. Now I've talked about it before, but Sayaka Carrara is the main anime protagonist of Stardom, and even though she is not quite there yet with her skills, it's a perfect reminder that she did not grow up watching wrestling and wasn't an athlete, but Carrara possesses an absolute unteachable attribute that makes you want to root for her, that mystical charisma, or what Tam Nakano called natural idol tendencies. For me, you can see the ambition and the will to succeed flowing through Sayaka Kurara, and that's what I personally love about her. You can feel her. I think she is a fantastic performer, and she gives it her all. That's all I want to see. The mystical Pasha! It wasn't a blow your mind away match, as I don't find Tekla to be that type of wrestler, but I thoroughly enjoyed her faces and her mannerisms. Ultimately, Kurara would land her Tokimeki Spear, and then the Tokimeki Falcon Arrow, and would have to land it again to finally put away Tekla in a very strong win for our Unicorn Cinderella. Okada is super happy to announce Tekla as the newest member of Cosmic Angels. But oh, Tekla like, fuck that, and tries to kill Okada. You're gonna kill Okada, fuck this guy, fuck Okada. I'm gonna beat his ass, yeah, beat him, kill him, punk rock, kill him, Morella. But oh, Okada tired of Tekla's shit. See, this is Stardom, people, and in Stardom, we treat our stipulations seriously, people. Tekla is fired. Straight to TK. Oh, Tekla going to CTK. TK. I enjoyed Tekla's time in Stardom, but I do think her style and her presence would do very well in wrestling promotions. The Toxic Spider leaves Stardom by being fired by Okada, and Sayaka Kurara like... Next, oh, the Joshi Legend Killer, this gargoyle, this hate member and runner-up to the Cinderella, and the younger veteran in Stardom, the Pink Devil, Rina. And oh, Japanese copyright coming in clutch for the comedy. Here's Joshi legend Yumiko Hota walking out to a choose-your-own music adventure. Where is she walking to in your head? Let me know. Hota has been wrestling since 1985 and is still wrestling today, so like, Rina would try, and then the gargoyles will try and help. But there's an open Japanese secret that when you reach past level 50, your respect shield is so powerful that you are practically unstoppable and nothing hurts ever. Nada. Thus, Rina's goal isn't exactly winning the match, but rather just delivering damage. How much damage can you actually take off this boss? Imagine a video game where the boss is unbeatable, but the point is to get as close as possible, and you have how I treat every single current Aja Kong match. To her credit, Rina delivered a lot of damage, and Hota is near 60 and doing superplexes, but this was always going to end like... Hota would choke out Rina, and back to silence. Dark Souls 2! Speaking of Joshi legends, here's the final boss. Not this guy, because Meiko actually show up. It's pretty cool of Stardom to honor Meiko Satomura on the tail end of her retirement tour, to show up on the biggest night in Stardom history. It's, of course, to muted silence. Yuna and Mika Iwata with the final boss in Joshi, Meiko Satomura. Cosmic Angels trio with current Sendai Girls Junior Champion Aya Sakura, the ever-thrilled and emotional Sayori Ano, and the Fairy Queen Natsupoi with this camera shot. I don't want to repeat myself with Meiko Satomura as I talked about her in my TJPW Grand Princess review that I really like, but she's still absolutely badass. Totally represents being the final boss of Joshi, and she is seriously still in the zone that not many wrestlers today can even reach. Sayori Ano got to tangle with her wrestling rival for the 1000th time. Natsupoi got to be a fairy that goes... Bye. But the real story was Aya Sakura trying her best to fight Meiko Satomura, and oh boy, does Meiko just destroy this poor woman. But that's one of my favorite styles of matches to watch. The younger wrestler against Omega weapon, basically. Can this person beat Elden Ring without upgrading their weapon? It's the best way to bring the most out of a wrestler's performance and fire, in my opinion, and Sakura was very compelling. Meiko still destroyed her though, but didn't finish her off as she challenged Sakura to rise and show the world what she is made of, before absolutely murdering her and taking her head with her. Despite being brief, Meiko Satomura was still intense and in the zone. Super awesome to watch this badass woman give her final Stardom performance by killing a younger Joshi. Perfect. Next, we have a no disqualification match between former friends and tag team partners in Crazy Star. Seira versus Suzuki. Suzu is a part of the Zoomer group of TikTok addicting whippersnappers and just clearly done with their cute shenanigans and attacked Seira because she's a little bridge troll. No, Suzu was a Grand Prix winner and hasn't been able to reach that level again. All her stablemates had titles and she is there, all sola. So she formed her own group to redefine her destiny and took in Mika Awada, Rina Yamashita, and the emotional Akira Kirigane to her new squad, La Vida Loca. So it's time to bring back Deathmatch Suzu, the Suzu that truly felt visceral and in control, and to kill this bridge troll, this balloon goblin May Seira. I kid. I respect the pure skill and talent of May, and this was her best performance I've seen from her. This match was awesome, honestly, so much. I'm gonna play this music. We have May, already a master of the high-speed goblin style, and she tried to utilize this early to make Suzu play her game, but once Suzu started bleeding, she remembered she was once a deathmatch specialist and forced May Seira to play her game instead, and made her bleed and die in agony. For someone like May Seira's character, whose worst violent action done to her was being stuffed in the locker by Mariah May, this actually felt scary. This is like a balloon goblin suddenly entering into a Tarantino film. It was very effective in making May Seira having to fight off a violent sociopath in a brutal physical affair, and she did, and it was wonderful, people. Wonderful to watch May Seira rise to the occasion and fight on with all her might and succeed in doing so. And once May was able to fight off Suzu's violence, was she able to explode into that high-speed style again, and now Suzu has to play her game. It was terrific. Look at May's beautiful finisher. This was 5 stars already, and then these 2 crazy stars go and do this. After much more Germans, Suzu decided to make a statement to everyone who has been criticizing her and lands a Sky Twister press that absolutely murders May Seira and wins the match. This was the type of match you show other fans who haven't seen Stardom. My god, it was just badass. And gotta clean up the ring now. To close the heavy Sendai Girls' presence on this show, the Empress Maika is challenging Chihiro Hashimoto for the Sendai Girls World Championship in a match that had me screaming yes when it was announced. Big Hash is one of the best in the world, and she's wearing the dead carcass of one of Sully's children from Monsters, Inc. I love stubborn-ass Joshi wrestling, and these two just collided at each other over and over again. Maika is currently nursing an injured elbow for years now, and will have to take some time off for close to a year in order to heal. Yet she never once relented on her style, and delivered bombs after bombs, because the Empress is a badass for sure. However, I overhyped myself for this match as I felt underwhelmed by this encounter, but it also followed an intense, surprised hardcore match with Suzu vs. May, but that doesn't lessen its quality and awesome nature. If you love watching big physical strength builds go big bonk on each other, then this is exactly the match for you. To her credit, Maika was busting out submissions and using different techniques to battle with power-hungry Hash, but she suffered from the best German in wrestling today, and then tried to fight a big powerbomb from Big Hash, but failed and lost a powerhouse battle to Chihiro Hashimoto. Take care, Maika, and I hope everyone here watching knows that Maika realized that there was something seriously wrong with her elbow when she couldn't drink anymore. God, we love you. Next is the Goddess of Stardom titles with perhaps the signature team of this division, FWC, against their fellow stars unit mates, Wing Gori's Hanan and Saya. Hanan challenged Hazuki to fight her, but Hazuki doesn't respect her like that, and this theme continues through the match as Hazuki and Hanan focus on each other, while Koguma and Saya had their own battles. This was a great title match, featuring established teams battling to prove who is better, but it's also interesting in their relationships. Koguma and Ida are very much in the spirit of competition, but Hazuki seemingly doesn't have any respect for Hanan as a unit mate, and this makes Hanan fight harder and prove to Hazuki that yes, I am a strong, worthy fighter, which leads Hazuki into finally giving Hanan enough respect to beat the living Hanan out of her. Jesus! My god, a move that nearly ended Wing Gori's run as Hazuki demolished Hanan and had to be saved by Ida. Ida would kill Koguma on an apron leading Hanan to prove herself again to Hazuki by demolishing her with brutal backdrops after backdrops before showing up in a meeting of their minds. Hanan would land a final backdrop hold for the victory, but despite the win, these two respect their elders still. But Hazuki still don't give a shit. She's bitter and has been bitter for a while now. With the news of Mayu Iwatani leaving Stardom following this show, this would certainly lead to an interesting dynamic for the rest of Stars. The seeds are planted. How will it grow? Speaking of Mayu Iwatani, she's defending her IWGP Women's Championship, which means it's property, which means I'm going to have to be safe and put it on the letterbox. Okay, and then change up the color. Okay, here we go. Mayu Iwatani. Mayu Iwatani is Stardom, but she's also, in my opinion, the IWGP Women's title. She made that title worthy of holding and delivered masterpiece title matches with it. She's composing symphonies out there, including one already with Syuri. For this to be Mayu Iwatani's final Stardom match is just excellence on her end, and easier to edit for future Mayu Iwatani content on my end. Syuri is one of the best in the world and has been building her own army of killers and Kashimas alike. Now, she is ready to be crowned a champion to lead her unit into further glory. I can think of no better wrestler. I wonder if this is the last time we'll get to hear Big Match Mayu's Stardom theme. The last time Mayu will have a big Stardom title match. She even says goodbye right here to the title, almost cheering up and sharing a moment with referee Daichi. The last Stardom baseball throw. Oh, hi, Syuri. Oh, she's just happy to be there.
So happy!
This match was classic, amazing stuff. Really, Mayu, as always, delivers. Look at Mayu's brilliant way to get offense in. Look, Mayu Iwatani is my favorite wrestler and my GOAT of not just women's wrestling, but wrestling in general. If you're not new, you know this. You know that the only way this meerkat can talk about Mayu is just to passionately glaze her to death because she is Mayu. If you are new, then perhaps let me explain why Mayu Iwatani is my favorite wrestler. When I started really paying attention to the performances of these professional wrestlers, it kind of started with CM Punk and AJ Lee, but it didn't really kick in until I saw a non-wrestler in wrestling kill it with her performances. Miho Abe. I was watching the G1 that Kenny Omega won with my bestie, and we would make fun of Taichi when we saw him, and instead we paid attention to Miho Abe because we were just memeing. We did not expect Miho Abe to be consistently reacting and performing as her character when no one asked her to, and when no one was probably even paying attention. That's when I knew there was something to this philosophy of wrestlers being outstanding theatric performers. But I needed an actual wrestler to display this because it's wrestling, and Mayu Iwatani was right there. Someone I always respected as a pro wrestler, but when I was watching her in the ring, it all just clicked. Everything. When I watch certain wrestling, I am watching fully immersed. My phone is away. I am watching. But the thing that I am paying attention to the most, where my focus lies, is right after a wrestler takes a move, I look right at their face, right at their eyes. I want to see how they are reacting to every single situation that happens. Just like I do in movies with actors when I see their face drop into a different emotion, the subtleties or not, the nuance in every muscle in their face is a piece of acting I always look for, and I enjoy seeing the vast variety of human expressions. Moves are cool and necessary. How they move in the ring is cool and necessary. It's a major factor in being a pro wrestler, but as a filmmaker who loves the performative arts, I am far more personally invested in seeing how a performer performs in this one-take zone where they are getting hurt for real and have to use that real pain to feel an exaggerated performance of struggle and glory to the story they are telling. And Mayu Iwatani. Mayu performs all the moves, she performs all the techniques expertly and with such confidence, such intensity, such raw power. But in between the moves, she's Philip Seymour Hoffman. Syuri is a phenomenal actress, an actual working actress, but her character relies on this single, perfected, badass face. And it's glorious. But look at Mayu after getting dropped on her head, the worry on her face as she tends to her neck, the way she slowly makes it to the ring as Syuri waits for her so they can fight fairly in the ring. But the weak punches and the damage is clearly expressed. And this face by Mayu, it's brief, but oh so powerful. The fight builds and builds, and Mayu's body fails her yet again, but her mind is willing and forces the body, leading to an amazing super kick. But watch just how she collapses to Syuri's kicks. There's so many moments I can talk about in this match, so many. The perfection and unique Mayu-ness of her moves, the way Syuri is a cold freaking killer. This was an all-star classic match, but my favorite part happened. After Mayu was trapped in the biggest submission attempt of the match, Syuri has been after the arms and finally traps Mayu and wraps her up with the legs. And look at Mayu's hands lose life in front of us. And the cut to her face. Incredible! And then Mayu would move her fingers to show signs of life. Syuri wrenches with all her might. Mayu is dying, but look at her eyes glance at the ropes, and only then does she make the final rally as Syuri screams bloody murder, and Daichi is yelling into Mayu's face. Now she grabs the ropes. Watch this match, people. It's such a great finale for Mayu's Stardom career. Syuri even managed to kick out of the two-step dragon suplex to show just how much of a god she is. Mayu would turn into Zombie Mayu third phase boss mode, only for Syuri to absolutely murder and behead the zombie chicken brain woman. But even without a head, Zombie Mayu's still fighting, but Stardom's no longer Mayu's world. We are now in Syuri's world. But Mayu would never give up. She would never die, damn it. That is the heart and soul of Mayu Iwatani in one single kick out. Syuri has to hit a modified Shurisakai to finally put away Mayu Iwatani and end her 735-day reign as the IWGP Women's Champion. This was phenomenal. Everything that I glazed about Mayu done to the highest level, and Syuri was just a pure beast and deserving champion. For Mayu Iwatani's final Stardom match, this was everything you'd want. And then post-match, we have Mayu realizing the loss and trauma. There's so much. There's just straight too much to glaze. I can't glaze forever, people. I have to eventually move on to the rest of the show. Syuri's emotions after were beautiful, though. I can just stay here all night. Phenomenal match on an already phenomenal show with more phenomenal stuff to go. This is Stardom. Mayu Iwatani was Stardom's Atlas, but now she can hand the world over to Syuri. She was born in the stars and created a kingdom. Now Mayu Iwatani travels to the flower fields to achieve a new greatness. The icon of Stardom. The icon. Oh, hi Syuri! Syuri gonna kick Syuri's ass, and Syuri gonna kick her ass, and all Joshi fans scream and joy because this is awesome! The Wonder of Stardom title match is next against two eternal foes who have torn the house down many times, but they must follow an incredible match. Can they? Of course, it's these two. Starlight Kid is the white belt champion and has earned this title reign after many failures. Against Azumi, Starlight Kid has only defeated her once when they were both young for the future of Stardom, and since then, Azumi has bested Starlight Kid in every title match they had. They have both graduated their respective divisions and have formed a whole new unit of Zoomers together, but now face each other on the larger stage in Stardom. But that was against Azumi. That's not Azumi. That's Katsumi. And this is Cyberpunk Katsumi. Oh, the ears. Wait. Oh, the ears? Wait. Katsumi and Azumi are the same person? By the way, something I loved in regards to color and Joshi is the subtle storytelling. For example, the journey of Starlight Kid from black and purple to full white to complete her transformation is why I love Joshi fashion. It's like the myth of Starlight Kid. How kindly Mikola of Starlight Kid.
Lord Brother.
Sorry, tangent. My Elden Ring fans in chat, I badly now want to see Starlight Kid right in the back of a zombie Mayu. Sorry, the match. Yes, the match was so good. I'm playing this music again. It starts with the old high-speed techniques, the type of match they would always have, the callbacks to prior matches, and Azumi being the ever-zoomster. She targets the arms of Starlight Kid, while Kid targets Azumi's knees to slow her zoomies from the catnip she injected moments before starting the entrance for her match because she's a speedy, zoomy, magical girl who is a cat. The brutal aggression of Starlight Kid, who is actually a cat, and does this little slither here because she is still totally being a cat, because, you know, this is a match about cats. What's great about Azumi is her ability to cut fat from matches. This was 20 minutes, but this little speedrunner was going zoop, zoop, zoop from spot to spot, not letting Starlight Kid or the audience breathe at all. And while this would put off the veterans of the industry who tell wrestlers to slow down, this worked in the story as it overwhelmed Starlight Kid to the point of realizing she cannot keep up with the high-speed style anymore, and forced Azumi to slow down through continued pressure on the knee with the stretch muffler submission she used to call the Black Tiger leg kill. I am not sure what she calls it now. Starlight Kid is a different wrestler now, but Azumi can still counter out of nowhere and has her insane destroyers that she can hit. It was a back and forth affair of elite action. I loved it. Starlight Kid showed a lot of heart and emotion even underneath the mask, and Azumi was such a spectacle and flawless as always. She landed the Tiger Destroyer and Starlight Kid kicks out still, but watch what Starlight does. She reaches for the turnbuckle. She is calling her next shot. She needs to climb the turnbuckle and lure Azumi up there because she has her gambit move, the move she named after Azumi, the Eternal Foe. In total control, Starlight Kid finishes off Azumi with back-to-back star suplexes for the dramatic finish. With that, Starlight Kid has finally beaten Azumi in a major title match. What's great about these two foes is they are indeed eternal foes. Their styles and movements fit with each other like a piece of a puzzle, perfectly connecting in poetry and beauty. They move like music and complement each other like wind, like perfect dance partners. But this time, Starlight Kid, who went through a full-on anime transformation to reach this level, was finally able to defeat Azumi. And despite their epic battle, this is Stardom. And Stardom is an anime. And as usual, with Azumi matches especially, it's about the friends they made along the way. And these two are not just eternal foes, but eternal friends. The end. But of course, there's one final match. The final match of an era of Stardom. The season finale, if there ever was one. I'll be honest, I didn't think they would do it either. But she did. Tam Road ends here. The resulting drive, probably the most beautiful match in Stardom history. There's so much deep lore to the rivalry of Tam Nakano and Saya Kamitani that I made an hour-and-a-half long video that details most of it. I also made a pretentious artsy visual poem as tribute to my late maestro David Lynch, as means to analyze the thoughts of Saya Kamitani's mental headspace through visuals and music. There will also be The Unicorn Whisper, a very special project that has a budget and it's going to take time. But then there's Kill Tamu Volume 4, Once Upon a Time in Stardom, the final Tam Nakano project. That will detail everything in the cinematic visuals that I am in love with doing. These two inspire me as an artist, and that's what the videos on them aim to do. So you'll get the full lore, all the nuances and storytelling and editing style, and Saya Kamitani following Tam Nakano everywhere and running her over with cars because Stardom is Dark Souls 2. For this recap though, I will simply talk about the match. First off, the interest of Tam Nakano was as godly and angelic as it gets. But the silence before Saya Kamitani appeared. It was breathtaking. This match was the greatest hits of all their past encounters, and it was glorious to watch them go through it all, soak in every moment, the choking, watching Tam feel everything she's in, like being choked, completely in the zone, until it was time for both of them to power up so many times it became intense and glorious to watch. Saya Kamitani is the Dark Phoenix, spelled like this, and the Phoenix is not a phoenix. She is not a bird reborn from ashes of fire. The phoenix from the Ars Goretia fell from heaven by choice and desperately wants to return. But the phoenix was deceived by the devil. She can never return to heaven. She must make her own crown down here. And that's exactly what happened, as Saya Kamitani thought she would return to heaven and become a phoenix once again, but her own mind, her own trauma, everything about her denied her, and she was punished severely. Here, they lay for the final act. Their performances were godly. Their eyes always look at the eyes. Saya Kamitani delivering perhaps her best theatrical performance yet, as she reverts back to the crying girl who had the ambitions to be an idol. She who was brought into the world of wrestling by Tam Nakano and dived into the darkest depths of hate in order to reach the level that she is currently at. But she is still deceiving because this is her. This is actually her. And watch as she uses the pain to fuel herself back into this hateful creature. The hate she has for Tam is so powerful. The chaos unleashed. It was epic. You can't ask for a better send-off for Tam Nakano. It had all the tropes, all the fighting spirits, second, third, and fourth phase Tam Nakano boss modes. In my opinion, it did maybe lean too much into the modern main event fighting spirit tendencies, and it started getting absurd, but their performances were so goddamn good, I let it all pass, and I just treat this like it's Revelations. After a final rally, Kamitani would land the spinning star crusher, and would pin. Oh, no, she lets her live. Because Saya Kamitani is so dramatic, people, she has to see her creator's face. She has to look her god in the eye, symbolically surpassing God with her Kamagoye. But Tam Nakano kicks out one final time. The final moment of impossibility. The final moment of hope. The final moment to believe. But Tam Nakano is out of dreams. Her dreams now rest in the hands of Saya Kamitani, who lands Tam's own finisher, the Twilight Dream, to cap off Tam Nakano's career. What an ending. Kamitani has committed the highest sin and has killed a god. To do so, she had to reach the darkest depths of hell and become the devil herself. But this is Saya Kamitani, people, and because it's Saya Kamitani, you can sense she didn't want to do this to Tam Nakano. But she had to still. Hell of a story, hell of a story. It was dramatic, it was epic, it was absurd, it was silly, it was dumb. The stakes kept rising, it was overcooked and undercooked. But I tell you, the finish was perfect. Tam Nakano has retired from pro wrestling, and she did it at the top of the game, at the biggest show, in the biggest match. She will go down as one of the greatest wrestlers to ever set foot in the ring. As for me, my channel owes a lot to Tam Nakano, and this silly video is when I started to notice I had an audience to begin with. She is the reason I got back into Stardom. More than her amazing wrestling ability, it was her performances and her passion. She is one of the greatest actors in the wrestling world, and her post-match theatrics are pure theater in the highest form. But she also gave it her all as a pro wrestler. Tam finishes her career, capping a long career arc of Saya Kamitani, and now our Phoenix Queen has all the power in the world to dominate Stardom like she always said she would. It took defeating a god, but the Phoenix stands tall. The ending was emotional, but what finally broke me was the walk back. The feathers floating over them as they slowly carried each other to the back. The last walk for Tam Nakano. They collapse to the floor and take a good final look at the world of Stardom. The very world Tam Nakano paved a whole road to lead toward. Tam Road has reached its end. And now Tam Nakano can sit back and see the fruits of her labor. But look! A shooting star. Final image broke me. It might be the most powerful final image in wrestling history. So much is being told here. Tam Nakano has always seen the shooting star, and she sees it one final time. And perhaps for Saya, this is hope. That one day she can return to heaven. To be with Tam. She just has to believe. All-Star Grand Queendom is the best Stardom pay-per-view I've seen. If your only viewing of this pay-per-view was through my dumbass commentary, you should stop and go sub to the world for just this pay-per-view. It's there right now, and watch it with Walker Stewart's English commentary. He's the quality you're looking for. The final match deserves to be watched by all. It was pro wrestling art at its highest. But for Stardom fans, the main event was why we love Stardom. It's the core of Stardom and the final love letter from Tam Nakano to pro wrestling. 9.9 out of 10. Thank you, Tam. Oh, I forgot the Stardom Rumble. God damn it.